Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Engromax. This is our second part of our lesson on passive. So listen, in our previous episode, we talked about the philosophy of passive, why we use passive, and what is the structure of passive. And we also discussed some terms and some categorizations like transitive, intransitive, agent, instrument, and so on. If you haven't seen our previous lesson, I recommend you go and watch it first and then watch this episode. Today, we'll discuss passive with have or get, reporting verbs in passive, and verbs with prepositions. All right. Our next slide is passive with have or get. Look, just listen very carefully. This is a very important and a very common structure in English. And I will explain everything about it. We just need to be patient. Let's start with this structure. The structure of this form is subject plus a form of have or get. There is little difference between have and get in this form. Have could be slightly more formal, but in my experience, little difference. Then plus object, and then it follows with the past participle of the main verb. Example, look, why do we use this? When the subject causes something to happen. Example, I had my car fixed by a mechanic. I is the subject, had is the past form of have or get, my car is the object, and fixed is past participle of the main verb. Remember, I am not fixing the car. I didn't do the fixing. I paid for it. Someone else did the fixing by a mechanic. You could mention the agent or not. When something happens outside subject's control, look, you don't always pay, for something to happen in this structure. Sometimes it happens outside your control. She's had her leg broken skiing. So, she, subject, has had, present perfect form of have, her leg, immediately, the object, and broken, past participle of the main verb. Now look, let's talk about the philosophy of this form. Why do we use it? Why bother? Why don't we use like a simple active form? Why don't we use a simple passive form? But we use, passive with have or get. Listen to this slide. I have put here 4 different sentences. They are practically saying the same thing, but using different forms. The first sentence, we say, I fixed my teeth. Sometimes you hear people say that, and you know that obviously they didn't fix their teeth themselves. The dentist did it. But they just say it this way. Because I didn't do it, this is not a good choice, especially when you're writing. It is confusing because the reader may not know if you're a dentist or not. It's so confusing. Another option, we could say, the dentist fixed my teeth. Well, that's true. But who is the dentist? This is something we call a weak subject. My sentence is not about the dentist. The dentist is not important in my discussion here. So this is a weak subject. Let's go to the next choice. My teeth were fixed. This is also correct. It is a simple passive form. But again, a weak subject. My teeth doesn't have like an identity to be used as the subject of the sentence. So again, I'm not comfortable with this. Now, let's use passive with have or get. I want to begin the sentence with I. Because I paid for it. I caused it to happen. It's kind of comes from the ego of human beings. You want to start the sentence with yourself. You say, I had or got, little difference, my teeth, object, fixed. Now it feels right. To get or to be. Get could be used instead of be in passive in spoken English. Remember, colloquial or spoken English. Example, we could say, instead of saying the criminals were arrested, past simple form of passive, we could say the criminals got arrested, spoken English. Reporting verbs. Listen carefully. Look, with verbs such as believe, know, say, think, report, rumor, and many others. A passive construction is used to avoid a weak subject. You already know what a weak subject is. I explained it in our previous slide. And to give a generalized opinion, example, this is especially important when it comes to reporting things on the news and so on. We say, people think he's living in Bogota. Bogota is the capital city of Colombia. Hello, Colombians. Look, this is a weak subject. People think. What's people? Who are people? What people? You see, it's confusing. So we say, we use he as this because we are talking about him. Like he is a famous person, or he is a criminal, or he is an artist, or he is a writer. We don't care. We are talking about him. So he needs to be the subject of the sentence. We say, he is thought. Why do we use is? Because of this. People think, present simple. He is thought, present simple. If we said people thought, we would need to say he was thought. Okay, so this is the first part. Don't confuse it with the following clause. We have two clauses in here. We say people think, clause number 1. He is living in Bogota, clause number 2. Don't confuse them, all right? He is thought to be living in Bogota. Okay, so thought to be, we use an infinitive form, and in here, this is the continuous form, in Bogota. Look, sometimes our reporting verbs are about present references. Passive followed by present infinitive or present continuous infinitive. Again, we are talking about the same thing, the previous slide, reporting verbs or reporting passive. We say vitamin C is known to be good for treating colds. We're talking about vitamin C is known. We don't say people know vitamin C to be this and this. Again, what is people? So vitamin C is known plus infinitive, present infinitive, to be, to go, to see, to sit. Good for treating cold. They are believed to be infinitive. This is continuous infinitive. To be hiding. Or we call it present continuous infinitive. To be hiding in the mountains. This important part is to be in here. Now, sometimes we are talking about some past reports. Passive followed by past infinitive or past continuous infinitive. We say people believe. Again, believe is now, all right? The event is in the past. People believe he has left Brazil. He has left Brazil. This is present perfect, but it's obviously from the past. People believe, again, weak subject. So we say he is believed because people believe. This is in present simple. He is believed. Again, we cannot say to leave Brazil because to leave is present. We say to have left. We call this perfect infinitive or past infinitive in some texts. To have left. To have is always there. To have left, to have seen, to have watched, to have spoken, and so on. To have left Brazil. He was reported, again, listen guys, the first part is irrelevant to the second part. The first part could be in present, he is believed, he was believed, he has been believed, he will be believed, irrelevant. He was reported to have been embezzling money. This is past continuous form or past continuous infinitive. To is always there. Have is always there. Been is always there. You see, fixed. But embezzling is the continuous form or the ing form of the main verb. Now, verbs with prepositions. The prepositions, if a verb comes with a preposition, we have a lot of verbs that come with a preposition, especially phrasal verbs in English. The preposition comes at the end of the sentence in passive. Example, we say, someone broke into my house. Into is the preposition following broke. Broke into is a phrasal verb. We call it the verb part of the phrasal verb, and we call this the particle part of the phrasal verb. So, now, again, someone broke into my house. Weak subject, because we don't know who someone was. we say, my house was broken into. At the end of the sentence, we use the preposition, the dependent preposition, we call it. Now, let's talk about the difference between three prepositions. We briefly talked about by and with, agent and instrument in our previous slide. Now, we want to put some more emphasis on it. With is used after verbs such as fill, pack, crowd, cram, throng, and verbs with similar meanings. We say the tram was packed with morning commuters. You could say the tram was packed by morning commuters, but we don't mean morning commuters are the agents of this sentence. No, we are just describing the situation here. You see, when we are discussing advanced grammar, we rarely have right or wrong. We have weak, we have fine, we have good, we have the best choice. This is the meaning of advanced grammar. Never forget that. Verbs such as cover, surround, decorate can use with or by. Up to you. Cover can also be followed by in. The furniture was covered in dust, covered with dust. If you say covered by dust, you are giving dust personality. You see, you are using it as the agent. Now, let's do an exercise together. Complete the second sentence using the word given. All right. 1. We think the treasure dates from the 13th century. Think. Again, weak subject, because this could be like in a newspaper article or in an academic paper, in an academic essay. So we don't say I, we use impersonal language. We say the treasure is, because we think, present simple, the treasure is thought, and then we immediately follow it with a form of infinitive. To be, from, because it says dates from the 13th century, to be from the 13th century. 2. Your hair needs cutting. We need to use passive with have or get, with get in here. So we say you need to get your hair, to get a form of have or get your hair, the object. Cut is the past participle of cut. It is cut, cut, cut. Number 3. Jill's parents are making her study hard. So we need to turn it into passive. We say Jill is being. Why is being? Because are making, present continuous. Don't change the tense. Jill is being made, passive form, to study hard. To study hard by her parents. By is missing here. You need to add it yourself. Look, we all know that. We say, I made him do it. After made, we use the base form, but not in passive. In passive, we use the infinitive form. Jill is being made to study. We don't say Jill is being made to study. It doesn't make sense. And the last one. Apparently, the ship did not sustain any damage. Appears. Again, this is a reporting passive. The ship appears. Because we say apparently, when we say apparently, it means it appears now. So it is present. So we say the ship appears. Now, we need to follow it with the infinitive. The infinitive is not always positive. It could be negative. What is negative infinitive? Instead of to have sustained, perfect infinitive or past infinitive. We say not to have sustained any damage. All right. This is the wrap up of our 2 lessons on passive. If you liked our lessons, you know what to do. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section or via direct messages. See you next time.